Welcome to Aurora English, the podcast where we talk about everyday topics in natural American English and explain the tricky words and phrases along the way so you can understand and use them too. I'm William, the more serious one who loves facts and studies. Today, we're diving deep into a question that probably keeps a lot of you up at night. What is the most addictive food on Earth? We're going to look at the science, the brain chemistry, the studies, and even the sneaky tricks that food companies use to keep us coming back for more. And don't worry, every time we use a difficult word, idiom, or slang, we'll stop and explain it with simple examples so you can learn it and sound like a native speaker.
And I'm Sophia, the fun one who just loves food and drama. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, today's topic is super juicy, and super juicy means really exciting and interesting, like when you hear gossip that you can't wait to tell your friends. William, are you ready to fight me on this? Because I already know my answer, and I will defend it until my last breath. I have stories, I have tears, I have 2 a.m. delivery receipts to prove my point. Bring it on, Mr. Science.
I'm ready, but let's start with science first, because that's the only fair way to do this. There's actually a huge amount of research about food addiction these days. Scientists have discovered that certain foods can light up the same parts of your brain as hard drugs, like cocaine or nicotine. I'm not exaggerating. When you eat these foods, the reward sensor in your brain, the nucleus accumbens, don't worry about the name, releases a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is the feel-good neurotransmitter. It's the same one that gets released when people gamble, fall in love, or scroll social media for hours. The big three ingredients that make food addictive are sugar, fat, and salt. On their own, they're nice, but when they're combined in the perfect ratio, something magical and dangerous happens. Food engineers call this the bliss point. The bliss point is that sweet spot, pun intended, where the food tastes so incredibly good that your brain basically screams, "Keep eating this forever." For example, think about the first bite of a donut that's still warm from the oven. Sweet from the glaze, fatty from the fried dough, and just a tiny bit salty. That moment of pure happiness, that's the bliss point hitting your brain.
Bliss point. Okay, that phrase is genius. That sounds exactly like the moment I take a bite of a warm chocolate chip cookie straight from the oven, and everything in life suddenly makes sense. Like all my problems disappear for 5 seconds. Or when you scoop into a pint of ice cream and it's the perfect creamy, sweet, cold combination. Oh man, now I want cookies. William, you're doing this to me on purpose. But seriously, bliss point is such a good way to describe it, like reaching food heaven. Another example, the center of a Ferrero Rocher chocolate, that crunchy, nutty, creamy explosion, total bliss point. Food companies know exactly what they're doing. They're basically legal drug dealers, but instead of pills, they give us fries.
Exactly. And they spend millions of dollars in laboratories trying to hit that exact bliss point for every product. They have taste panels, machines that measure crunch, and even brain scans to see how excited people get. A famous study from 2013 by researchers at the University of Michigan decided to rank foods by how addictive they are. They asked hundreds of people which foods they had the hardest time controlling. Foods they kept eating even when they weren't hungry, foods that caused cravings and withdrawal symptoms. The results were very clear. The most problematic foods were processed foods, meaning foods that are made in factories with lots of added ingredients. Natural foods like apples, chicken, or broccoli almost never showed up on the list. Guess what came out on top as the single most addictive food according to the study? I'll give you 3 guesses, Sophia.
Pizza. It has to be pizza, right? Come on, William. Don't keep us waiting. Just say it. Cheese plus tomato sauce plus bread plus pepperoni. It's literally a love story in every single slice. It's warm, it's cheesy, it's greasy in the best way, and you can eat it with your hands like a caveman. Cold pizza for breakfast? Still perfect. Fancy truffy pizza with fancy cheese? Still perfect. Cheap dollar slice at 3 a.m. after a night out? Life-changing. Pizza is the ultimate food boyfriend. It never judges you, it's always there when you need it, and it understands your emotions. I once cried because a pizza delivery guy brought me the wrong toppings, and then I cried again when I ate the right one because it was so good. Pizza is undefeated. Fight me, science.
You're not wrong at all. Pizza was number 1 on their list, and it wasn't even close. Chocolate came in second, potato chips third, cookies fourth, ice cream fifth, French fries sixth, cheeseburgers seventh, and then the rest of the usual suspects followed. Cake, bacon, fried chicken, donuts, you name it. Basically, everything that tastes delicious and makes you happy for 5 minutes and guilty for 5 hours. What's really interesting is that the top 17 most addictive foods were all highly processed. Not a single fruit, vegetable, plain fish, or whole grain made the cut. The researchers used the Yale Food Addiction Scale, which is the same kind of questionnaire doctors use to diagnose addiction to alcohol or gambling. People recorded losing control, eating more than planned, strong cravings, and even withdrawal symptoms like headaches and bad mood when they tried to cut back. So when we say addictive food, we're not just using a cute expression. We're talking about something that can trigger the exact same brain pathways as real drugs. And pizza? It checked every single box, harder than anything else.
See, science finally agrees with my heart, my stomach, and my late-night delivery app history. But let me break down exactly why pizza is the undisputed champion, the heavyweight title holder, the GOAT. GOAT means greatest of all time, like when people say Michael Jordan is the GOAT of basketball. First, the cheese. Melted cheese is basically dairy crack. Crack here is slang for something insanely addictive, like the drug, because once you start, you literally cannot stop. For example, people say this game is crack when they play it for 8 hours straight, or this TV show is crack when they finish 3 seasons in one weekend. Cheese is the same. It stretches when it's hot, that long gooey string from the slice to your mouth, that's called cheese pull, and it's pure food porn. Food porn means food that looks so good you almost feel guilty staring at it. The cheese is salty, fatty, and it contains casein, which is a protein. When you digest casein, your body turns it into casomorphins, tiny chemicals that act like natural opioids. Opioids are the family of drugs that includes morphine and heroin. So yes, cheese literally has mild drug-like molecules in it. That's why people who try to go vegan always say the hardest thing to give up is cheese. I tried once for 2 weeks, and I dreamed about mozzarella sticks. Actual dreams.
That's 100% true and backed by research. Casein breaks down during digestion into casomorphins, little opioid-like molecules that attach to the same receptors in your brain as stronger drugs. It's not going to make you overdose, but it does create a mild, calming, rewarding feeling that keeps you coming back. That's exactly why baby cows get addicted to their mother's milk. Nature designed it that way, so babies keep nursing. Food companies just took nature's trick and supersized it. They concentrate the casein, add salt, melt it perfectly, and put it on something starchy. That's why people say, I can't quit cheese when they try to go vegan or dairy-free. It's not just taste, it's chemistry. There are even studies where rats will choose cheese over other treats, and rats in labs will press a lever hundreds of times for tiny cheese rewards. Cheese is basically nature's original comfort drug.
Exactly. And then we have the crust, soft on the inside but crispy on the outside, loaded with refined carbs that spike your blood sugar faster than you can say one more slice. Carbs turn into glucose super quick, boom, instant energy rush, and another dopamine hit. Then the sauce, sweet from concentrated tomatoes, a little tangy, a little salty. It's engineered perfection from top to bottom. Every single element is hitting a different pleasure button in your brain at the same time. I once ate almost an entire large pepperoni pizza by myself at 2 a.m. while watching reality TV. No regrets. About the taste. Okay, maybe a little stomach regret the next morning, and I couldn't look at cheese for like 6 hours, but 6 hours later, I was ready again. That's the sign of true addiction, when your brain forgets the pain and only remembers the pleasure. Another example, have you ever opened a box planning to eat 2 slices and suddenly the box is empty and you don't even remember chewing? That's pizza doing its magic. It's not you being weak, it's food scientists being evil geniuses.
That's a perfect definition of hyper-palatable food, a technical term scientists use for foods that are engineered to taste way better than anything found in nature. So your brain screams, "Eat more now!" Hyper means above normal, and palatable means tasty. Put together is food that hijacks your taste buds and your self-control. In nature, sweet things like fruit are rare and usually come with fiber that fills you up. Fat is usually locked inside nuts or meat and takes effort to get. Salt is almost impossible to find in large amounts. But pizza, it gives you unlimited refined carbs, concentrated fat, sugar, and salt all in one perfect bite with almost no fiber to slow you down. Your stomach never gets the "I'm full" signal until it's way too late. Scientists say these foods override the body's natural stop-eating mechanisms that evolved over millions of years. That's why you can destroy a whole pizza but feel hungry again 2 hours later.
They are podcasting this voice on radio. Okay, but before pizza gets too comfortable on the throne, what about potato chips? Their actual slogan is "Betcha can't eat just one," and they weren't lying. That's truth in advertising right there. Betcha is short for bet you, like a friendly challenge. I open a bag planning to have a handful, and suddenly I'm at the bottom, scraping crumbs like a raccoon. I finished family-size bags in one sitting, and then looked around like, who did this? It was me. I did this. Chips are dangerous because they're perfectly salty, perfectly crunchy, and perfectly greasy. Every chip is identical, so you never get a bad one that makes you want to stop. It's endless perfection.
Chips were number 3 on the University of Michigan list, and for very good scientific reasons. First, the crunch gives you that incredibly satisfying mouthfeel. Mouthfeel is a real food science word. It just means the texture and sensation food creates in your mouth. Crispy, creamy, chewy, melty. Those are all different kinds of mouthfeel. Chips have the ultimate crispy, crunchy mouthfeel that humans are wired to love because thousands of years ago, crunchy usually meant fresh and safe to eat. Then every single chip is coated with the exact perfect amount of salt and oil, again, that bliss point. But the sneakiest part is what scientists call vanishing caloric density. That sounds complicated, but it's simple. The chips dissolve or melt in your mouth so fast that your brain doesn't register you've eaten a lot of calories. You get all the flavor and crunch, but almost no chewing or swallowing effort, so your stomach never says enough. It's the opposite of eating something like an apple, which takes time and fills you up. With chips, the calories literally vanish before your brain catches up. That's why the bag disappears. Lay's knew exactly what they were doing when they made that slogan.
Sneaky little chips. It's like they ghost you, but with calories. Ghost here is modern slang, when someone disappears suddenly without explanation, like a bad date who stops texting. The chips ghost your stomach. They're there 1 second, gone the next, and somehow you're still hungry, but you've eaten 800 calories. Same thing happens with cotton candy at a fair. It dissolves the moment it touches your tongue, so you keep shoving more in. Or movie theater popcorn with that fake butter, greasy, salty, melts away, and suddenly the bucket is empty, and you have no memory of eating it. Chips are professional ghosts. They should come with a warning label. May cause accidental overeating and salty fingers for the rest of the day.
Another incredibly strong contender that almost everyone on the planet would fight for is chocolate. It's not just sugar and fat, although it has tons of both. It also contains small amounts of caffeine and a compound called theobromine, which is a mild stimulant similar to caffeine. Together, they give you a tiny energy lift plus that deep, rich melt-in-your-mouth pleasure. But the real danger is psychological and physical dependence. Some heavy chocolate eaters actually get real withdrawal symptoms, headaches, irritability, even low mood if they suddenly stop for a few days. There's a famous study where people who ate chocolate every day were asked to abstain for a week, and many reported headaches exactly like caffeine withdrawal. Chocolate also triggers a huge serotonin boost. Serotonin is the happy, calm chemical in your brain. So when you're stressed, your brain literally begs for a piece of chocolate because it knows it will feel better instantly. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, chocolate with nuts, chocolate with caramel, doesn't matter. Once the wrapper is open, the whole bar disappears. I've seen grown adults hide chocolate in their desks like it's something illegal.
I believe it 100% because I've lived it. I once tried to give up chocolate for Lent. Lent is a Christian tradition where for 40 days before Easter, some people choose to give up something they really love as a kind of sacrifice or self-discipline. Think of it like a personal challenge. Anyway, I proudly announced I was giving up chocolate. Day 1, fine. Day 2, little grumpy. Day 3, I was literally bargaining with God in my head. Okay, just one Reese's cup. That's basically peanut butter. It's protein. It doesn't count. By day 5, I was dreaming about chocolate fountains. I caved on day 9 with a family-sized bag of M&Ms, and I ate them in the car so nobody could see me cry with happiness. That's addiction, people. Chocolate understands my soul. When I'm sad, it's there. When I'm celebrating, it's there. When I'm bored at 11 p.m., it whispers my name from the kitchen cabinet.
But here's the most important thing to understand. Processed foods always win this name because they are literally designed in laboratories by teams of scientists whose only job is to make you eat more. Real whole foods like a plain apple, a piece of salmon, brown rice, or raw broccoli simply do not have that perfect bliss point we talked about earlier. Nature never combined unlimited sugar, fat, and salt in one bite with zero fiber to slow you down. You can easily eat one apple and feel satisfied. The fiber fills your stomach, and the natural sugar comes slowly. Same with a piece of grilled chicken or a handful of almonds. You hit a natural stopping point. But try eating just one single Pringle or one single Oreo or one single square of chocolate when the package is open. It's almost impossible for most people. The companies removed all the brakes that nature put in food. They call it eating disinhibition, a fancy way of saying all self-control disappears. Studies show that when people are given hyper-palatable foods, they eat 30 to 60% more calories than when they eat whole foods, even when they're not hungry to begin with.
Impossible. Pringles are pure evil genius. They're stacked in that perfect hyperbolic paraboloid shape, basically a fancy math curve, so they nest together perfectly in the tube, and your fingers slide right back in like it's a delicious black hole that sucks you in. Black hole here means something you can't escape from once you get too close, like in space, but with snacks. You reach in for just one more, and suddenly the entire tube is empty, and you're staring at cardboard wondering where your life went wrong. And the flavor dust? Don't get me started. Sour cream and onion, barbecue, salt and vinegar that makes your mouth pucker. Every single chip is coated exactly the same, so there's no bad chip to save you. With real potatoes, you might get a burnt one and think, okay, I'm done. But not with Pringles. They're consistent little soldiers of addiction marching straight into your stomach.
There's even a specific tiny region in your brain called the hedonic hotspot. Hedonic comes from the Greek word for pleasure. It's only about the size of a pencil eraser located in the nucleus accumbens we mentioned earlier. When hyperpalatable foods hit that exact hotspot, your brain floods with dopamine, the want more chemical. Dopamine doesn't say, I'm full and happy. It says, keep going. This is the best thing ever. Do it again right now. It's the same chemical rush people get from winning money, getting likes on social media, or, sadly, taking certain drugs. The more often you trigger that hotspot, the more your brain rewires itself to crave that food. That's why some people can sit in front of Netflix with the family-sized bag of chips and finish it without even noticing. Their hedonic hotspot is throwing a full-on party, and the rational part of the brain is locked outside.
So basically, food companies hired brain hackers, people who understand exactly how to hijack our neurology and turn us into repeat customers. Brain hackers is slang for anyone who knows how to manipulate your thoughts or feelings, like social media algorithms that keep you scrolling, or casinos with no clocks and free drinks. Food scientists are the OGs, the original gangsters of brain hacking. They've been doing it since the 1970s with better labs and bigger budgets than most governments. And we just open our wallets and our mouths and say thank you.
Pretty much spot on. In fact, David Kessler, who used to be the commissioner of the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, the government agency that regulates food and medicine, wrote a whole book about this. He said, and I quote, "The processed food industry has mastered the art of creating food that is addictive by combining fat, sugar, and salt in ways that exploit our biology." He interviewed hundreds of food executives, and many of them admitted they can't eat their own products in moderation either. One famous quote from an executive was, "I haven't had a chip in 10 years because if I start, I won't stop." Even the people who make this stuff know how powerful it is.
Okay. I need a quick break from all this science before I start stress eating just from talking about it. Let's do a super fast lightning round to lighten the mood. Lightning round means a quick series of questions with fast answers, like a game show. I name a food, you give it an addictiveness score from 1 to 10, and a quick reason. Ready? First one, Oreos, those black and white cream-filled cookies that everyone twists apart.
Study at Connecticut College showed that rat rats preferred Oreos over cocaine. When given the choice, they spent more time on the Oreo side of the cage and activated the pleasure centers of their brains more strongly. That is not a joke. 9.5 out of 10, easy.
French fries, the golden, crispy ones from fast food places that come super salty and hot.
Salt on the outside, fat on the inside, soft starch in the middle that turns the sugar instantly, plus the perfect crunch to soft ratio, 9 out of 10. Dangerous in large quantities.
Plain boiled chicken breast. No sauce, no seasoning, just white and dry.
0 bliss point, 0 dopamine party, tastes like sadness and gym memberships, 1 out of 10. You'll stop after one bite naturally.
Cinnabon cinnamon rolls from the mall. Those giant, warm, sticky ones that smell up the entire hallway and come with extra frosting.
Dripping everywhere, buttery dough, warm carbs, cinnamon aroma that travels 50 feet, hits every single reward button at once, straight 10 out of 10. Possibly illegal in some countries.
I knew it. Those cinnamon rolls smell like heaven and taste like a hug from your grandma who secretly owns a bakery and loves you the most. You walk past the store and the smell literally pulls you in like a tractor beam from Star Wars. 10 minutes later, you're sitting on a mall bench covered in frosting, wondering how life got this good.
So, to wrap this up means to finish or conclude something neatly. After looking at all the science, all the studies, all the personal stories, and all the lightning round evidence, what do you think is the final undisputed winner of most addictive food on Earth?
Pizza forever and ever, amen. You can have it for breakfast, cold slices straight from the fridge at 8 a.m., lunch hot and fresh, dinner fancy date night version with prosciutto and arugula, midnight snack reheated in the microwave until the cheese buttles again, cold pizza, hot pizza, wood-fired pizza, frozen grocery store pizza, fancy truffle oil pizza, $2 street slice pizza. It never, ever lets you down. It's the most reliable relationship I've ever had. Pizza doesn't ghost you, doesn't play games, doesn't care if you're having a bad hair day. It just shows up cheesy and delicious.
I have to agree completely with both the research and reluctantly with your heart. Pizza combines every addictive element in one perfect package. Trees with its natural opioids, bread made from refined carbs that spike blood sugar, sweet tomato sauce, salty and fatty toppings, and that irresistible melted texture. It hits the bliss point, the hedonic hotspot, the dopamine system, and the emotional comfort center all at the same time. According to every major study, it is officially the king or queen of addictive foods worldwide.
Long live pizza. All hail the champion. Listeners, we want to hear from you right now. Drop in the comments or send us a message. What food can you absolutely not stop eating once you start? Don't be shy. We all have our weakness. Is it ice cream? Straight from the tub? A specific brand of chips? Grandma's cookies? Be honest. We're all friends here, and we're all addicts together.
And remember, it's completely okay to enjoy these foods sometimes. Life is short, and joy matters. Just know that when you're reaching for that 4th, 5th, or 12th slice, your brain is being expertly played by food scientists who have PhDs in making you crave more. Awareness is the first step. Moderation is great when it works, and forgiveness is great when it doesn't.
Exactly. Eat the pizza. Enjoy every cheesy bite. But maybe, just maybe share one slice with a friend. Or don't. I'm not your mom, and I'm definitely not judging. I'll be over here ordering extra pepperoni.
Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Aurora English. We hope you learned some new words, some new phrases, and maybe a little bit about why your brain loves junk food so much. We'll see you next time with another fun topic.
Bye, you beautiful food addicts. Stay delicious, stay happy, and I'll see you in the pizza line.